Good morning, everyone. Our today's topic is emotional problems, that is, anxiety disorders. In today's lecture, we will discuss anxiety disorders part 1. So, let's start with the part 1 anxiety disorders. So, basically, what is anxiety? Anxiety is it's a normal phenomenon. Anxiety is a normal thing. It's a normal response. It's a normal emotional response. Anxiety क्या है? एक emotion है. And it's a normal thing. सबकी लाइफ में कोई ना कोई प्रॉब्लम होती है, कोई स्ट्रेसफुल कंडीशन होती है, कोई टेंशन होती है, and everyone is anxious. Everybody has anxiety. So it's a normal phenomena. And mild to moderate anxiety is a normal response. It's a normal emotional response to many stressful life situations or circumstances. So basically, anxiety, it's a normal phenomena. It's a normal thing. Anxiety is a normal emotional response. And if anxiety is mild or it is moderate, it is a normal thing. It's a normal response to any stressful condition of life. So what's anxiety? Mild to moderate anxiety is a normal emotional response to many stressful conditions of the life. And anxiety is a normal phenomenon that has evolutionary value. Now, anxiety has both cognitive behavioral component, which is expressed in worrying and worriness. Worrying is हर चीज के बारे में बहुत ज्यादा सोचना, टेंशन लेना. And weariness is, it means not completely trusting the particular thing. मतलब वो completely trust नहीं करता है किसी भी situation पे, किसी भी चीज पर. It's similar to suspiciousness, right? Worrying and worriness, and physiological component which is mediated by autonomic nervous system. So now what we have discussed, that anxiety is a normal phenomenon. It's a normal emotional response. And if anxiety is mild or moderate, it is normal. It is a normal response. It's a normal emotional response to many stressful circumstances of the life. Anxiety disorders are characterized by pathological anxiety in which anxiety becomes disabling. Till now we have discussed that anxiety is a normal phenomena. Or the anxiety mild hai, moderate hai, then it's a normal thing. It's a normal emotional response. But when the anxiety is interfering with your daily activities, with your daily routine, when it is disabling, when anxiety becomes disabling, when it's disturbing your normal routine, normal life, then it is pathological. So when anxiety becomes disabling, when anxiety gets affects the quality of life, when anxiety interferes with the social interactions, when it's affecting the quality of the life, when it's affecting the development of the person, affecting the development, affecting the achievement of the goals, when anxiety is leading to low self-esteem, low self-confidence, when it leads to social withdrawal, when it leads to academic underachievement, then it is characterized by pathological anxiety. Because why we are saying pathological anxiety? Because till now we have discussed that anxiety is a normal phenomena. लेकिन अब anxiety हमारे daily life में डिसेबल कर रही है, उसको इंटरफेयर कर रही है. It's interfering with our social interactions. The person is not able to interact properly in social gatherings. The person is having low self-esteem. He's having low self-confidence. He is not able to achieve his goals. He is not able to perform in his academic areas. Right? He is not able to perform well. He has low self-confidence because he is anxious. When anxiety is leading to social withdrawal, the person is avoiding social gatherings. When anxiety is affecting the quality of life. So, anxiety disorders are characterized by pathological anxiety, in which anxiety becomes disabling. When anxiety starts interfering with social interactions, the person does not interact properly in social gatherings. When anxiety affects the quality of life, when anxiety leads to low self-esteem, when anxiety leads to social withdrawal, when anxiety leads to academic underachievement, and when anxiety affects the development of the person, when it affects the achievement of the goals. The person is unable to achieve his goals. He is unable to perform well in his academic areas. And anxiety is affecting the quality of life. Then anxiety is called pathological anxiety. The average age of onset of anxiety disorder is 11 years. 11 years is the average age of onset of anxiety disorder. Now, we have discussed normal anxiety, pathological anxiety, and the average age of onset of anxiety. Now, when the person is anxious, then he must have physical manifestations too. So, anxiety may have physical manifestations such as loss of weight, pallor, tachycardia, tremors, muscular cramps, flushing of the face, hyperreflexia, abdominal tenderness. So when the person is anxious, he must have physical manifestations also, which are tremors, trembling, flushing, hyperreflexia, muscular cramps, abdominal tenderness, tachycardia, etc. Now, anxiety disorders are the most common psychiatric disorders of childhood, occurring in 5 to 18% of all children and adolescents. Now, anxiety disorders, they are the most common psychiatric disorders of the childhood, which occur in 5 to 18% of all children and adolescents. Genetic factors contribute towards development of anxiety disorders. So anxiety disorders, they are the most common psychiatric disorders which occur in the childhood and occurs in 5 to 18% of all children and adolescents. Then genetic factors contribute towards development of anxiety disorders. Now, when the infant who is excessively clingy and difficult to calm during pediatric visit should be followed for signs of increasing level of anxiety. अब हम क्लिनिक पर बैठे हैं, पेरेंट्स आते हैं बच्चे को लेकर, एंड व्हेन वी ऑब्जर्व कि बच्चा बहुत ज्यादा क्लिंगी है, मतलब पेरेंट्स की गोद से उतर ही नहीं रहा है बिल्कुल भी, एक्सेसिवली क्लिंगी, डिफिकल्ट टू काम डाउन, then we must suspect that there are signs of anxiety, that the infant is so much anxious that he is getting excessively clingy and he's not able to calm down. So the infant who is excessively clingy and difficult to calm during pediatric visit should be followed for signs of increasing level of anxiety. Because anxiety is both a normal phenomena and, when highly activated, strongly associated with impairment, the pediatrician must be able to differentiate between normal anxiety and abnormal anxiety across the development. Now, till now we have discussed that normal anxiety and abnormal anxiety. तो हमने बात करी कि माइल्ड टू मॉडरेट एंजाइटी इज नॉर्मल, बट जब वही एंजाइटी हमारी डेली एक्टिविटीज में, डेली लाइफ में इंटरफेयर करने लग जाए, हमें सोशल इंटरेक्शंस में इंटरफेयर करने लग जाए, हमें इट लीड्स टू लो सेल्फ कॉन्फिडेंस, लो सेल्फ एस्टीम, then it becomes pathological anxiety. So a physician, a pediatrician, he must be able to differentiate between the normal and the abnormal anxiety, like what is normal anxiety and what is abnormal anxiety. Now, after learning this, we can easily differentiate between the normal and the abnormal anxiety. Now we will discuss normative fears throughout childhood and adolescence. हर एज ग्रुप में कौन कौन से fears normal हैं, they are not abnormal, they are the normal fears throughout childhood and adolescence. So between the age group of 0 to 3 years, 0 to 3 years of age, shyness from the strangers. सेपरेशन एंजाइटी, बच्चा अपने पेरेंट्स से दूर नहीं रह पाता है, अलग नहीं रह पाता है, एंड ही हैज शाइनेस फ्रॉम दी स्ट्रेंजर्स, द बेबी इज शाई फ्रॉम दी स्ट्रेंजर्स, स्ट्रेंजर एंजाइटी डेवलप हो जाती है बच्चों में, एंड इट्स अ नॉर्मल फियर बिटवीन दीज एज ग्रुप. शाइनेस फ्रॉम स्ट्रेंजर्स, सेपरेशन between 0 to 3 years. Between 3 to 6 years of age group, dying and death of the others. घर में किसी की डेथ देख ली, रिलेटिव्स की डेथ देख ली, तो the child develops fear of death. थंडर, लाइटनिंग से डर लगता है उसको, अंधेरे से डर लगता है, एनिमल से डर लगता है, पानी से डर लगता है, फायर से डर लगता है. 3 to 6 years. So these are normal fears between the age group of 3 to 6 years. Fears कौन कौन से हो गए? थंडर, लाइटनिंग, डार्कनेस, एनिमल्स, फायर, वाटर, डेथ ऑफ अदर्स, नाइटमेयर्स, इमेजिनरी क्रिएचर्स, इन सबसे उसको डर लगता है. 3 to 6 years of age group. Then 6 to 12 years, school age children, they develop school anxiety. They don't like to go to school. Performance anxiety, stage performance anxiety, getting ill, natural disasters and traumatic events, fear of negative evaluation, हार्म टू सेल्फ और अदर्स, नेचुरल डिजास्टर्स से डर लगता है उसको, फियर ऑफ नेगेटिव इवैल्यूएशन, हार्म टू सेल्फ और अदर्स। सो ये नॉर्मल फियर्स होते हैं बिटवीन दिस एज ग्रुप 6 to 12 years। कौन कौन से? स्कूल एंजाइटी, परफॉर्मेंस एंजाइटी, बच्चा स्टेज पे जाने से एंशियस रहता है, कुछ परफॉर्म नहीं करता, परफॉर्मेंस एंजाइटी, नेचुरल डिजास्टर्स, वो ट्रोमैटिक इवेंट हो गया लाइफ में, उससे डर लगता है उसको। देन फियर ऑफ नेगेटिव इवैल्यूएशन, बाकी लोग मेरे बारे में क्या सोचेंगे, क्या इवैल्यूएट करेंगे, क्या जज करेंगे मुझे, सो ही हैज दैट फियर ऑफ नेगेटिव इवैल्यूएशन। देन हार्म टू सेल्फ और अदर्स, दूसरों को हार्म करेगा। 12 years एंड अबव एडोलेसेंस एज ग्रुप में पियर रिजेक्शन, अपने ही एज ग्रुप के बाकी लोगों से उसको ऐसा लगता है कि मुझे रिजेक्ट ना कर दे, ही हैज दैट फियर ऑफ रिजेक्शन, ही और शी मे हैव फियर ऑफ रिजेक्शन, पियर रिजेक्शन, अपने ही एज ग्रुप से मुझे रिजेक्ट ना कर दिया जाए, मुझे अपने ग्रुप में इन्वॉल्व नहीं करेंगे, सो ही हैज दैट फियर ऑफ रिजेक्शन, पियर रिजेक्शन। So here is a diagram showing normative fears throughout childhood and adolescence. Normative fears between infancy and toddlerhood, stranger, shyness, separation. Then 3 to 6 years में normal fears क्या हैं? Death of others, thunder, lightning, fire, water, darkness, nightmares, animals, imaginary creatures. Then between the age group of 6 to 12 years, getting ill, natural disasters, traumatic events, school anxiety, fear of negative evaluation. And at 12 years of age, adolescence age group में only one fear, that is fear rejection. So these are the normal fears, normative fears, normal fears throughout childhood and adolescence. Now, anxiety has identifiable developmental progression for most children. Most infants exhibit stranger anxiety at the age of 7 to 9 months of age. इस एज ग्रुप में स्ट्रेंजर एंजाइटी होती ही होती है, and it's a normal thing. Behavioral inhibition to the unfamiliar is evident in approximately 15% of population at 12 months of age and is moderately stable. इस एज ग्रुप में ये होता है and approximately stable, ये stable भी होती है. Family history of anxiety disorder and maternal over-involvement predicts later clinically significant anxiety in behaviorally inhibited infants. Family history of anxiety disorder is and पेरेंट्स का ओवर इन्वॉल्वमेंट, ओवर इंटरफेरेंस बच्चों की लाइफ में is clinically significant in leads to anxiety in behavioral inhibited infants. Now we will discuss types of anxiety disorders. कौन से होते हैं? Separation anxiety disorder, childhood onset social phobia or social anxiety disorder, generalized anxiety disorder, OCD, obsessive compulsive disorder, then post traumatic stress disorder, then panic disorder, then phobias. So the types of anxiety disorders कौन से हो गए? Separation anxiety disorder, childhood onset social phobias, generalized anxiety disorder, obsessive compulsive disorder, social phobias, post traumatic stress disorder, and panic disorder. And all these anxiety disorders, they are defined by the occurrence of either diffuse or specific anxiety. These all types of anxiety disorders, they are defined by occurrence of specific anxiety or diffuse anxiety. And all these disorders, जितने भी हमने पढ़े types of disorders, anxiety disorders, they are all related to situations, predictable situations. हम उनको predict कर सकते हैं पहले से. All these disorders, they are related to predictable situations. Now, differential diagnosis of anxiety disorders. First is shyness, then hyperthyroidism, then arrhythmias, then autism spectrum disorder. We have discussed everything, right? Hyperthyroidism, autism spectrum disorder, shyness, major depressive disorder. Now, major depressive disorder is, अगर हम इसकी बात करते हैं तो जो sadness is a normal, it's a natural part of the human experience. Everybody gets sad at some point of time. So sadness is a natural part. People may feel sad or depressed when anything bad happens in their life, right? Everybody feels sad at some point of time. लोग normally sad कब होते हैं, depressed कब होते हैं? When anything bad happens, when they are not expecting anything in their life and suddenly it happens, or when they lose their some close one, a loved one passes, or they are going through a life challenge such as divorce or any serious illness, or the family member gets ill. However, these जो feelings होती हैं, they are normally short lived. कुछ time के लिए होती हैं. A person gets sad for a time being. ऐसा तो नहीं है हमेशा sad ही जाएगा, फिर depressed ही जाएगा वो. कोई situation हुई, कोई incident हुआ, and the person gets sad, but it's a very short lived feeling. But when someone experiences persistent and intense feeling of sadness for extended period of time, they may have major depressive disorder. Right? So now it's clear what is MDD, major depressive disorder. What we have discussed, that sadness is a natural part of the human life. Everybody gets sad. People feel sad when they lose their close one, or when anything bad happens in their life, or when anything happens जिसके लिए वो ready नहीं होते हैं पहले से, anything sudden happens, right? Or when they're going through a serious life challenge like any serious illness, or their family member gets ill, anything, etc. And all these feelings are short lived. Means किसी की life में कोई unexpected सा incident हुआ, and the person gets depressed or he gets sad, and then after some time he gets normal. It's a normal thing. लेकिन कुछ लोग क्या होते हैं, उस इंसिडेंट को री एक्सपीरियंस करते ही रहते हैं, बार बार सोचते रहते हैं. व्हेन समवन एक्सपीरियंसेस persistent and intense feeling of sadness, वो कंटिन्यूसली सैड रहते हैं, हमेशा डिप्रेस रहते हैं, उस इंसिडेंट को भूल ही नहीं पाते हैं, बार बार उसके बारे में सोचते रहते हैं, persistently कंटिन्यूसली सोचते रहते हैं. And they have intense, they have severe, they have persistent feeling of sadness for long period of time. Then they have major depressive disorder. इसको हम एक और नाम से बोलते हैं clinical depression. MDD is also called as clinical depression, and it's a significant medical condition. Right? जिन लोगों में ये होता है major depressive disorder, people with MDD, they often lose interest in everything. Obviously वो पूरा टाइम डिप्रेशन में रहते हैं, वो किसी चीज के बारे में सोच ही नहीं पाते हैं. they lose all their interest in everything, so they lose interest in every activity. जिनको कभी कभी इंजॉय किया करते थे ना, उनमें भी उनका इंटरेस्ट एकदम खत्म हो जाता है, और कहीं परफॉर्म नहीं कर पाते हैं, किसी से सोशली इंटरेक्ट नहीं कर पाते हैं, बिकॉज दे आर सो मच डिप्रेस्ड दैट दे लूज इंटरेस्ट इन एवरीथिंग. द नेक्स्ट इज डिल्यूजनल डिसऑर्डर. इसको पहले बोला जाता था पैरानॉइड डिसऑर्डर. पुराने टाइम में इसको बोलते थे डिल्यूजन डिसऑर्डर को पैरानॉइड डिसऑर्डर, एंड इट इज अ टाइप ऑफ द सीरियस मेडिकल कंडीशन. ये भी सीरियस मेडिकल कंडीशन है, ऑल्सो कॉल्ड एज साइकोटिक डिसऑर्डर. डिल्यूजनल डिसऑर्डर और पैरानॉइड डिसऑर्डर, जिसको हम पहले के टाइम में बोलते थे, अब इसको बोलते हैं साइकोटिक डिसऑर्डर. डिल्यूजन क्या होते हैं? डिल्यूजन आर द मेन सिम्टम्स. अब डिल्यूजनल डिसऑर्डर नाम से समझ में आ रहा है क्या है ये. सो डिल्यूजन्स आर द मेन सिम्टम ऑफ डिल्यूजनल disorder. Delusional disorder involves delusion that are not actually real, of course. Situations that could happen in real life but have not actually happened, but they may happen in real life. Like conspiracies, love and distance from the loved ones. मतलब इसमें लोग imagine करते हैं, delusion. They have delusions, the things which are not present in real. Delusional disorder. Then oppositional defiant disorder. This we have already discussed. Then the next is embarrassing medical conditions. वो कौन कौन सी हो सकती हैं? embarrassing medical conditions या health conditions like constipation, जिसमें जो person है वो embarrassed feel करे, कई social gatherings में बहुत ज़्यादा embarrassed feel करे. So embarrassing medical conditions. जब वो embarrass होगा तो he will be anxious. So embarrassing medical conditions like excessive sweating, smelly feet, flatulence, constipation, vaginal odor, body odor, right? So all these are the embarrassing medical conditions. These are the conditions which makes the person feel embarrassed in social gatherings. वो कौन कौन सी हो गई? Excessive sweating, बहुत ज़्यादा पसीना आ रहा है उसको, पैरों में से स्मेल आ रही है. Then flatulence, constipation, etc. Then body dysmorphic डिसऑर्डर, ये भी इसका वो है, डीडी है एंजाइटी डिसऑर्डर का। बॉडी डिस्मॉर्फिक डिसऑर्डर, ये क्या है? इट्स अ मेंटल हेल्थ डिसऑर्डर, बॉडी डिस्मॉर्फिक डिसऑर्डर और मेंटल हेल्थ डिसऑर्डर in which the person of the child can't stop thinking about one or more flaws in his appearance. That is, जो बच्चा है या जो पर्सन है वो persistently, continuously अपने बारे में सोचता रहता है, अपनी बॉडी की कमियों के बारे में सोचता रहता है. He can't stop thinking about the flaws in his appearance and the flaw that appears minor or can't be seen by others. मतलब उसको अपनी बॉडी के अंदर, अपनी बॉडी की अपीयरेंस में वो कमियां दिखती हैं जो बाकी किसी को दिखती ही नहीं है, या दिखती भी है तो बहुत कम दिखती हैं, लेकिन उसको इतनी ज्यादा दिखती हैं कि वो परसिस्टेंटली, कंटिन्यूअसली पूरा दिन उसी के बारे में सोचता रहता है कि मेरी बॉडी अपीयरेंस में ये कमी है, मैं बहुत ज्यादा फैट हूँ, मेरे बहुत ज्यादा डार्क सर्कल्स हैं, मेरी बॉडी ऐसी है, मेरी बॉडी इस शेप में नहीं है, मेरे अंदर ये कमी है, मेरे बाल बहुत थिन है, मेरे नेल्स बहुत थिन है. कुछ ना कुछ वो अपने बारे में परसिस्टेंटली, कंटिन्यूअसली पूरा टाइम सोचता रहता है, उन फ्लॉज के बारे में, उन कमियों के बारे में जिनको बाकी लोग नोटिस भी नहीं करते, या करते हैं तो बहुत माइनरली नोटिस करते हैं. So it's a mental health disorder in which the person can't stop thinking about the flaws in his appearance, or the flaw that appears minor or which is not even seen by others. And then he feels embarrassed, ashamed, anxious, and then finally avoids social gatherings. So this was all about the differential diagnosis of the anxiety disorders. Etiology. Genetic or temperamental factors contribute more to the development of anxiety disorders. This all we have already discussed, that genetic factors or temperamental factors, they lead to development of the anxiety disorders, some anxiety disorders, whereas environmental factors are linked to cause of others. कुछ factors जो हैं they lead to development of anxiety disorders, और कुछ environmental factors हैं that lead to other disorders. Environmental factors such as parent-infant attachment and exposure to trauma contribute more towards separation anxiety disorder and post-traumatic stress disorder. This means जो genetic factors हैं, temperamental factors हैं, they leads to या they contribute towards development of few or some anxiety disorders. लेकिन जो environmental factors हैं, like parent-infant attachment, parents का बच्चों से कितना attachment है, या exposure to any trauma, these factors, these environmental factors, they contribute towards development of separation anxiety disorder and post-traumatic stress disorder. Means जो genetic factors हैं, they contribute to development of anxiety disorders, लेकिन जो दो हैं PTSD और SAD, they are linked to environmental factors. Parental anxiety disorder is associated with increased risk of anxiety disorder in offspring. Now, अगर पेरेंट्स बहुत ज़्यादा एंशियस रहते हैं, पेरेंटल एंजाइटी, पेरेंट्स में बहुत ज़्यादा एंजाइटी है, दे आर ऑलवेज एंशियस, देन इट इज एसोसिएटेड विद इंक्रीज्ड रिस्क ऑफ एंजाइटी डिसऑर्डर इन द ऑफस्प्रिंग. अगर पेरेंट्स बहुत ज़्यादा एंशियस हैं तो बच्चा भी बहुत ज़्यादा एंशियस रहेगा. अगर पेरेंट्स के अंदर एंजाइटी डिसऑर्डर है तो देयर आर इंक्रीज चांसेस कि बच्चे में भी वो डिसऑर्डर होगा ही होगा. So parental anxiety disorder is associated with increased risk of anxiety disorder in the offspring. Now, differences in the size of amygdala and hippocampus are noted in patients with anxiety symptoms. Difference in the size of amygdala and hippocampus, they are observed in the patients with anxiety symptoms. जिन patients में anxiety disorder है, anxiety के symptoms हैं, उनमें difference आएगा किसमें? Size में of the amygdala and the hippocampus. Amygdala it's a collection of the cells near the base of the brain. Amygdala it's a part of the brain's limbic system, right? And hippocampus it's a brain structure. It's a brain structure which is embedded in the temporal lobe of each cerebral cortex. तो इन दोनों के साइज में कुछ डिफरेंस होगा उन पेशेंट्स में जिनके अंदर एंजाइटी सिम्टम्स हैं. So difference in the size of amygdala and hippocampus are noted in patients with anxiety symptoms. Amygdala it's a collection of the cells near the base of the brain. Amygdala क्या है? Collection of cells है near the base of the brain. And hippocampus, it's a structure of the brain which is present deep in the temporal lobe of each cerebral cortex. So difference in their sizes will be observed in patients with anxiety symptoms. So this was all about introduction to anxiety disorders. In the next lecture, we will discuss about separation anxiety disorder. Thank you.